Hey everybody, welcome to the garage this week, and we're in Timaru Presbyterian parish, and it's my pleasure to introduce Helen Carter, who's one of the mission champions there, and Brent Richardson and Rory Grant, who are the ministers. So hi guys.
Hey Daryl.
Hi.
Great to see you. So Helen, why don't we go to you first? Tell us, what question are you mulling over at the moment?
We have a very well-supported Rhythm Kids and Playgroup happening at Trinity Community Centre, and over the last 4 years there has been a real effort in communicating regularly and keeping in touch and developing relationships with these families. And this has paid off hugely during the lockdown period, because we maintained those relationships initially just through text messaging and the odd phone call. And then Rory suggested that we have our program on our Facebook page. And so Sarah, who actually creates the program, created the videos with her children, and they were hugely popular with the people who joined in onto that Facebook page. And then Rory suggested that maybe we would do a Zoom session with any of the people who would like to join us as well. And so that began a really good way of reconnecting by seeing each other's faces. And we had our first day back in Trinity Community Centre yesterday, and the real joy of seeing all these people gathering together. And so my question is, how can we now take this body of people, 28 families, and bring them closer to God through gathering in another way? And I have started those conversations with some of the people, and they are wanting community. That is their question when they answer me. It's, well, we just really want community. So they've got a community, but they are looking for something more. And I've talked about this with Brent and Rory, and we see a real opportunity to gather and maybe start asking the question, how has it been for you? And what has kept you going? Because some of these people are solo families, some of them have had health issues, ongoing health issues. And so, yes, we have a real opportunity to find a way to gather these people in a way that will be church differently, as our senior people may see it, but what these young people are looking for.
Fantastic. Really important questions. Good job. Thank you. Who's next? Brent, why don't we hear from you?
Yeah, well, I guess there's lots of questions going around in my head, and following on from what Helen said, before the lockdown, we were thinking, how can we resource this new community that's happening with the Rhythm Kids, and we were starting to look at how we can release Rory more into that space, so that he's got some intentionality around just being present. And we were doing that, and then the lockdown happened, and we were like, oh, is that throwing that all off? But I think the reality is that it actually hasn't thrown it off. It's actually strengthened it, because Helen's been able to continue the pastoral connection, and Rory's with the technical skills he's had, been able to be in that space, albeit online, but it's set up to continue on now as they get back to normal. So we're still looking at how we resource that and what it looks like going forward. I've got questions around, how will it be, sort of the kind of dark questions that I have after 10 weeks of people not having to get out of bed and go to church on time. Will they want to? Will we have a big fall off of people who turn up? That's I say a dark question, because I think the reality is people are really hungry to get back into gathering together, and we won't see that. But there's been, there might be some who don't go, no, I'm calling a day on it. I have questions around financial viability of our church, things like that. It feels like we're in a moment in time that is everything is changing, and we're not quite sure what it looks like on the other side. So I hold those questions kind of in my head, and and prayerfully believing that God's got good things ahead for us. And but it's that balance, isn't it, between looking ahead in faith, but also not burying your head in the sand and just being Pollyanna-ish. So and also I suppose one other thing is I wonder about how will my approach to ministry, to worship, and to leading be different, post lockdown, post COVID. We had change forced on us. We had to come up quickly with a new style and a new way of operating, which from the feedback we've had has been appreciated. And so what do I want to carry on as we meet in a live context, gathered context? What do I want to carry on with that? What are the elements, the warmth and the intimacy that we were able to convey through video, and through the way we set that up? That'd be nice to be able to carry that on into the room with people. Yeah. So, yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Honest questions. Everyone's questions are honest, but really appreciate that. Thanks, Brent. Hey, so from the upper room, we'll head down into the garage. Rory, so pleased that you've entered into the garage spirit.
Yeah, mate. Well, I think the first question I've got, Daryl, is why aren't Helen and Brent in their garages? I mean, this is the garage after all, guys. Where's the commitment? But seriously, though, it's, I've found the Rhythm Kids community to be a real lifeline for me during this time. Sometimes we think people are just living ordinary lives out there, but the reality is that ordinary lives are filled with joy and grief and sorrow and all those things that make us human. And it's just this vibrant community of young families that's a privilege to be a part of, really. And so that leads into my first question is, what's the interface between community and church, which I suppose is kind of similar to what Helen was asking as well. But we've got church over here and we've got this community group over here. And as Helen was saying, that this group are wanting to deepen their sense of community, but, what does that mean in terms of our understanding of what church is? And I go back to, many of us will have heard of that old rubric of believe, belong and behave. And think about that with the Rhythm Kids community, and we've got a whole heap of belonging there, and there's a huge amount of trust that, so much of that has been fostered by Helen, by her real intentional, loving outreach, just staying in touch with people, and so there is a huge level of trust, and that creates a big sense of belonging. And I've never liked the behave word because it always sounds like you're being told what to do. But I think what it really means is people who, their actions speak their louder than words. They get involved in what's happening. And we're seeing that with Rhythm Kids as well. And what I'm noticing is on the belief side of things is that, on that private personal level, people are reaching out and needing to know that comfort that comes from sharing those deeper things and sharing things in prayer, especially. So, there have been some really special times praying with people one-on-one or in small groups. And that's a real privilege. But, what does that look like for that to be church? For these people, what does it look like in this community to foster that community without destroying its identity by trying to make it into church? So that's one of the big questions. And the other one that goes alongside it really is, what does mission look like in this post-COVID sort of world, in this lockdown world, in this world where everyone's searching for meaning and identity? And I think it looks a lot like pastoral care in a way, actually showing that you care and that you love people. And, you know, I keep coming back to that passage. You know, they will know that you're my disciples by your love for one another. And I think that's the foundation we've got to build on. That we've just got to love people and start from there and let God do his thing. Yeah, so those are my questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, in the wonderful city of Timaru. Great to be with you today. All the best.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you.